fun to be a fan. Whoa. Every day, every night, just filled with delight. Or what we say, it's difficult to be a fan. Oh, oh. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to be reviewing Fandaze. So as this goes up, it's been a week since Fandaze, so I thought I'd do a little review and sort of my thoughts, my emotions, the ups, the downs, the ups agains and the worlds arounds of everything that went on in Fandaze. Let's talk about the downs and then we'll sort of work our way up then with the highs. So with Fandaze, it's sort of like a big character, it's a big event for fans of Disney, and what they're going to do, I think they're going to do it something different every year, but this year it was all about the characters. It was all about meeting characters that you probably don't see a lot in the park, meeting sort of the characters you've always sort of like loved and aspired. So I think they definitely sold on that. They definitely brought the goods, that there were characters that we've hardly never seen. There were characters we're like, what? They're there? And and there were characters that you really like, you're probably never going to see again. So they definitely brought that factor. Just, I don't think they realise how us fans are mad, how much we are mad about these characters, and we want to see these characters, and we're willing, we're willing to line up for these characters. I think Disney keep forgetting that, because there were some organisations of the queues that were absolutely fantastic, and there were some that they switched up a little bit and they weren't so fantastic. So this was taking part in the studios, and it was from an 8 o'clock till 2 o'clock sort of whole event, where some in between there were some shows, there was some parades, sing-alongs that were going on throughout the time. And it's also good to mention, sort of between 10 o'clock and 11:30 there were going to be no characters. There was going to be a big break. They were all going to go and sort of like have a little moment. So that was already kind of like a right, well, you've got to plan, because you get given one of these programs and there's a list of all these characters and where their photo ops are going to be. So you have sort of had a moment to sort of plan, and what are your top favourite 5 characters that you probably want to go and see. So I can say, when it comes to the character meets, they sold it to us that it was going to be, because they weren't taking autographs, they weren't sort of going to have a long time with you. They did let you know it was going to be sort of like a big sort of quick sort of thing, that the lines won't be long, because sort of good thing to mention that they weren't giving out disabled access passes. So your green pass that you normally would get in the Disney parks, they weren't giving them out. They weren't giving them out because they reassured the guests that don't worry, you won't be waiting in a queue that long, because it was going to be sort of like you would only have 2 pictures out, 2 pictures out, and that's sort of like how it was sort of like going to run, which majority of the times, oh sorry, I keep saying, the majority of the times, it was. So the characters sort of we met, in terms of they had their photo ops, were actually quite quick, and it was great, it was fantastic. So we met the first sort of hour, and just 1 hour, so between 8 to 9, my friends met Yaya, Darkwing Duck and Launchpad, and Gauchito, Burrito, and John even managed to get a quick little selfie with Brer Rabbit. So that's already like 6 characters in an hour. That's how quick they were like funneling them through, which is fantastic, because yeah, you probably want a bit of an interaction with them, and you want to, tell them that, I've loved your character for time, but also I want to see others, like, you know what I mean? Like, I love, and the feeling of get the queue moving, it gets you, more excited, and you're like, oh, I want to see another character. So I like that feeling of, I'm just happy to be here, and I'm just happy to see all these characters, and I'm happy that I'm getting a photo with them. Which then comes to the sort of the big downerist of the downerist? Is that a word? Comes the big downer of the whole entire sort of sort of thing. And then if you've watched this video, you've probably watched other sort of Fandaze reviews, and that is the Heroes and Villains alley. Yes, I was one of them people that got caught up in the massive hoo-ha-ry of the Heroes and Villains alley. I tell you what, like, if we were 15 minutes before, like, earlier in that line, we wouldn't have even had this debacle. Like, we were just 15 minutes earlier, because it got to about sort of like 9 o'clock, 9:15, and we've already seen all those characters, which is fantastic. So we're like, let's do Heroes and Villains, because the line was long. Because the way they did this, I could see Disney thinking, this is a great idea. This is fantastic. Let's do a big sort of red carpet version, you know, of Heroes and Villains. They have like one long rectangle thing that sort of took up the whole sort of strip of the trams in the studio tram tour in sort of the back bit of that Hollywood section. So they took that whole back bit. At the time you're thinking that's a really good idea, because they had like these sort of podiums, and one side was the hero and the other side was the villain, and so forth, so forth. So kind of nearly like Epcot, where you would see Mickey, Goofy, and then Minnie, and they would go bam, 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 picture, 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 done. So you're thinking, right, it's worked at Elle's places, it's gonna work here, absolutely gonna go with like a flash. And I think also it's just they added extra little things. They shouldn't have changed it, because this was also had like a set, like they had like a group of, they had like was it like 8 groups of villains and heroes, and then another 8 groups of heroes and villains, and they shouldn't have done that, because it was too much, like too many sort of changeovers. They also didn't have photo pass here, which was another the reason why this line was going really slow, because what's good about the photo pass people is that they actually was the person who's kept the line going. So they were, because you're only allowed to see 2 pictures, so they were the ones that were going, thank you, bye, next person, thank you, bye, next person. And that's, you know, they had the control of the line, where now you scrapped the sort of that photo pass, you were in control of the photo. So you had some families and some couples or some people that were going, oh, okay, no, more pictures, quickly, another one. Oh, do you want me to use your phone? Great, let me use your phone. And it was just taking, that was also what was taking so long for it to shimmy through. So they were letting people in like sort of groups of 15, and then they would go round, and then once they hit like first sort of 2 characters, they bring another 15. So that's how they were sort of, that's how we were moving. So it got to a point where they stopped the queue behind us. There was about 20 people behind us, I think, and they stopped the queue because obviously it was getting to about 20 to 10. 2010, and we were nearly halfway, we were past halfway through the line. So we were like, yes, we've made it, we're definitely going to get in. That means, you know, that's going to mean that, you know, they're going to let no one in else because they're not going to make it 10 o'clock. So we're like, yes, thank God we've made it. We're like, because we're lining up that long, you want to know that you've made it. So that's good to know. So we then get shimmied through. It's about 10 to 10, so 5 to 10, 10 to 10. We get shimmied through the next 15. And then we got sort of passed round, and then you're looking down the alley, which is pretty cool. It looks mental, because you obviously got the red lights, purple lights, blue lights, smoke coming through. It's pretty epic. It does look like a sort of a villainy alley. So we got to Hero and Callahan, and then we're lining up to Robin Hood, and then suddenly they let the rest of like the 20 people that were behind us all go through. It was like a big sort of free-for-all, which I don't know why they did that. I think the cast members panicked and went, oh, these people are going to kick off because they're not going to make it to 10 o'clock. Let's just let them all in. Which still doesn't make a difference because they still have to line up. And because of that, it turned out to be a free-for-all that people were just passing certain characters and then just going to the ones that they wanted. And the cast members saw this and they were like, oh, it looks pretty mental, let's shut it down now. You could just so tell that's what they were doing. So then they ended up stopping the characters, and then they went. Like, they went. And we're like, where are they going? They were like, well, it's 10 o'clock now, you know, come back in an hour and a half and line up again. And obviously, as you can imagine, people did not like that answer, and people were kicking off. If I have time to like put footage in, or if I can put footage in, I'll put footage footage in of that little moment where it started to kick off.
Oh, it's all kicking off.
So kicking off, people.
It's all kicking off.
It's a rumble.
My hat's off. Hats off. Not to them.
What's happening then?
But I think we got to the second villain and everyone just started going. The time was up. But everyone's kicking off because they let people in for no reason when it shouldn't have been. So I think they're going to actually ask the characters to come back for us whilst we're all kicking off. They're all on the phone and everything. So I think we're going to hang around.
Because people were like, well, are we going to get the next set of characters coming in? Or like, hang on a minute, we've waited an hour in this queue thinking that we were going to make it because you cut the line off behind us. So we're obviously like, we've made it. And now you're telling we haven't made it. We've literally only got to the first character and you're telling us no. What the hell? So obviously people are kicking off. No one's going as well. So there's like about 30 people in this whole villain alley going up to cast members going, what is going on? I can't believe you made us wait an hour. Da 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 da. And we were like, I'm just sitting there like, oh God, what's happening? What's gonna happen? What's happening? What's gonna happen? What's blah, 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 blah. So there's people like, you know, there's cast members on the phone, there's walkie-talkies going on. We had no clue what was going on. To the point that in the end, they ended up giving us fast passes, which to be fair, in the end of the day, another day older. I'm actually quite happy that at least they understood, I guess. But we had some rude cast members. Some rude cast members there. They were like, you're just gonna have to wait, go back in the line. Go back in the line. If you wanna go and see them again, go back in the line. I was like, you're gonna have to all get out, get out, get out. And obviously, I'm like, well, there's nothing else happening here now. It's not like there's a massive big tram that's gonna come behind us and trample us. Trample. So we're like, no, we ain't going anywhere until we find out what's happening, what's going on, da 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 da. So I'm quite happy that we ended up getting fast passes. But there was quite a lot of us, so I can't imagine what people do in the standby queue at 11:30, seeing a load of people with fast passes think. So I mean that was that. Because in the end it did get a bit better after that, because we did come back and we did end up seeing all the characters. It was still a bit of a kerfuffle because we just managed the last sort of people were Hades and Hercules. So when we did manage to come back, they were really pushing us for time that we ended up having to get a group shot. And, you know, the lighting was a bit darker now because of, you know, it was 11 o'clock, so it was really dark now. So, you know, our pictures weren't coming up as good. But as long as I got to see Robin Hood, Hades and Hercules, and Hero, I'm very happy, and I was happy anyway, regardless. That means that's clocked off about 8 extra characters on top of that now. So, I mean, it was a bit of a downer, but then it did pick up a little bit, and I'm glad they did give us fast passes to sort of help it on that. So yeah, I was in that bit of a debacle of heroes and villains sort of alley. Moving on to the amazing things that happened at Fandaze, which was Max Live. Max Live was life. I'm trying to think, like, it was so good, so good. Max was giving us Britney Spears Las Vegas moves. He was cartwheeling, he was sort of sashaying here, sashaying there, pointing left and right. He was giving us some moves. And the characters that was in his show was, were really, really random. So there were like Zootopia characters, there were 3 Caballeros, there were Lilo, there was just Stitch and Angel. There was Emperor's New Groove. It was a bit of a weird sort of mixture of characters, but I mean, once again, you saw characters that you probably don't see very often, especially 3 Caballeros. It was great. Ay, caramba! I loved it. There was like, the pyrotechnics were great. There was doing sort of some projection on the Tower of Terror. There was bubbles, there was smoke, there was water coming through. It was just great. I loved it. I loved it. I saw it twice. That's how much I was like, I'm gonna need to get a second view in here, because the first viewing, obviously, you film on your camera or you film on your phone. The second time I wanted to really just, you know, see it from my eyes, see it from my own eyes instead of through a lens eye. DuckTales parade. Now, of course, this was the jam because we were all in our DuckTales outfit. I was Huey, so obviously I was shouting for Huey as much as I could just to get him to notice me, which he did. He did a little wave, But I think, was it Dewey? Yeah, Dewey was the star of the show. We mainly had Dewey in our sort of area when they stopped, so he was giving us life. And we were sort of learning sort of dance moves there as well. It was very interactive. As you'll see from the clips or the vlog when that finally comes out, John was giving us some moves. He was learning the moves as he goes along. It was great. The DuckTales show was really good. We got a load of waves. We got a load of characters coming up to us. So yeah, the DuckTales show was really good. I love the DuckTales show. After the Heroes and Villains, and we saw those two shows, The Parade and Max Live, the last characters we then went to go and see was Clarabelle and Horace and Clarabelle the cow. So we saw those two characters, and it got to about, I could say, 1 o'clock when that happened. And as soon as 1 o'clock happened, they stopped all the lines. Because the farewell show was happening at 2. Yeah, the farewell show was happening at 2. So obviously they stopped all the lines, which is so sad because I really wanted to go and see Esmeralda and Quasimodo. That was the next characters that I was ready to go, and we were going towards the line, and we were like, no, you can't go on the line. We've stopped it now. It's 1 o'clock. You know, they've got to go into the parade, and you're like, oh, for God's sake, it's still an hour to go. But I mean, once again, I guess it's best they tell me, then I line up for an hour and then they go. So I guess it's a good thing they told us, and it meant that we could just sort of take everything slow for a little bit and just sit down because my feet was aching. So the farewell show, it was basically just, it reminded me of the 25th anniversary again, where they literally just, all the characters that you can think of were just walking. There was like a big sort of, obviously they made a parade sort of thing, and that some characters had a little float, and then most of them all just walked, and they just sort of did a wave. And because we had Gareth's kids with us, we got a lot of attention. Because there wasn't a lot of kids there. Actually, there was no princesses there. The only princesses that were meeting were Eleanor of Avalor and Elsa and Anna. That was it. That was the only princesses that was there. So, but I think there was other characters that kids would probably like to meet. But yes, there was not a lot of children there. So obviously, when characters see the kids, they lurch onto them. So we got amazing interactions, and they were still going. You know, it was probably a long day for those characters. So I love that they pushed on, and after that we just saw everybody. Like, I was happy that, you know, even though I didn't get to see Esmeralda and Quasimodo, I kind of basically got to see them because they came right up to us. They did a little wave, they did a little thank you kind of thing, you know. Milo and Kida did a little wave, and that I count that as a little quick. We made connection. There was a thing there, you know, and that now I count that as a sort of a moment, which you know. So in the end, that even though I didn't get to see the characters, I got to see the characters, and it's all on film. It's all like, you know, I get to go back and go, cool, that was a character. Cool, I've never seen that character before. I've technically actually physically seen it. I've never met it, but I've seen the character. So, overall, would I do it again next year? Yes, 100%. Because it was not, I feel like the only thing that went wrong was Heroes and Villains. Because all they needed to do, instead of making it a big alley, they should just made them as photo ops, like individual photo ops. And then it would have released more lines, and it would just maybe fluttered about a bit. And I think they should make it a bit more exclusive. I think they took too many tickets there. I wouldn't mind paying an extra 15, 20 euros more, knowing that it's going to be less tickets and a bit more exclusive. Like if they took an extra 200 people out or an extra 300 people out, I'd be happy with that, knowing it's a little bit more exclusive. So yeah, I'll definitely do it again, because I met so many people there. I met so many like Disney Instagrammers, Disney YouTubers that I watch and fangirl over them, because this event really brought everyone together, and obviously my Disneybrit crew was just so good that we're all there in our sort of bounding costumes. I think I was just in the moment. I was living for the moment. So I'll definitely do it again. I can definitely say that. 100% I'd do it again. Thank you everyone for watching my Fandaze review. I don't know if any of that made sense, if that was actually a review or was it just a story time. I think it might actually be a Fandaze story time. I give it a C. I give it a C, because character interaction was great, the rare characters that were there were great, and everything else other than that, the good things were really good and the bad things were really bad. There we go. Don't forget to like this video, and if you have any sort of reviews on Fandaze, please leave in the comments below if you've got anything that I missed, or if you have any questions for me about Fandaze, or if you have any opinions. Please not too horrible opinions about anything I've said. Please leave them in the comment sort of bar below, and of course if you like my vibe, then please subscribe. Bye.